Vlogalogue. How is your week been? My week's been pretty busy. I've been doing Vita and doing school and getting ready to go to London and doing lots of interesting stuff. And, well, I don't know, it's interesting to me anyway. But anyway, we had a sort of a consensus come on a little bit in this week's series of videos. It kind of converged on communication in the end. A lot of life lessons can be solved with communications, and things in life can generally be improved if you're in constant communication. I mean, it's from what like the stereotypical marriage counseling is, it's just you need to work on your communication. Maybe that's true, maybe it's not. Personally, I've never ever gone for marriage counseling. I don't even really know why I brought that up, but you know, I did because it's a stereotype, and who knows? Anyway, that got me thinking, kind of obviously, about communication. And what are our favorite ways to communicate? I mean, we live in a very high-paced, fast world that like people sever themselves off from communication because it's like overwhelming, but they don't sever themselves off from all forms of communication. Some people sever all forms of electronic communication, but they don't stop talking, and they perhaps don't even stop writing. They may keep a journal. I mean, personally, I really think video making is the best form of communication for me. It's kind of like putting a bottle, like taking your voice, putting it in a bottle. I guess a podcast actually would be about the same. You wouldn't have to pay as much for the lights or the camera, but you know, you could do some interesting communication-y stuff with video. Although I don't think I necessarily leverage that as much as I might possibly. Although I am a hands talker, which is why my hands are all over the screen all the time. But like bottling my voice and talking things out is perhaps my favorite way of communicating. I talk to myself all the time. Talking is amazing. And talking to a camera, I find is really actually quite natural for me. Like I know some people when they first get into like YouTube videos, like it's weird talking to a camera. I think it's perfect talking to a camera. I'm always so worried about what people are gonna say while I'm talking that I might not say what I'm gonna say, or say it differently, or say it less impactfully, because I'm just like, they might not like it. Whereas you are a camera. You are just gonna sit there and look like a camera. And I like that about this form of communication. You just don't talk back to me. Maybe later on you will, and that's what I like. I like to see later communication. But in the moment, in the right now, I can do and say whatever I want, free of judgment. And that's pretty similar for a lot of cats. Can communicate with their voice, apparently. Anyway, I'm going to make this topic pretty broad. I want to see where other members of this channel take us. I mean, we've talked about like isolating ourselves from communication before. And it's certainly fine if you'd like to revisit that, and maybe you've thought about it and had something new to say. Or I think it would be interesting to know, what is your favorite form of communication and why? Like, my favorite form is perhaps video or perhaps a podcast. In either sense, a sort of talking out of something in a totally just no instinct, no judgment at all. The camera cannot judge, the microphone cannot judge. And just talking things out, and then just, you know, playing around with the words a little bit later and making sure they quite flow and may say the thing that I'm trying to say. I mean, it prevents misunderstandings if I go over all my video or all my audio and I make sure that what I'm saying actually makes at least somewhat sense to me. And I think that's really cool. But you guys may have entirely different forms of communication that you really enjoy, be it interpreted dance or writing or sky drawing. I don't know why I keep going back to sky drawing. I mentioned it a couple months ago, I think. Anyway, I think this is an interesting field, and I'll try to do a better job of wrapping things up with it, because we'll see what happens. Anyway, I'd love to hear what your favorite form of communication is and why, or perhaps even a big thesis on what is wrong with communication today or what is right with communication today. I don't know. Feel free to explore this topic. And until next week, I'll see ya. Bye.